Leo DeRocher once said, baseball is like church. Many attend, but few understand. Tonight we'll try and further our understanding of the importance of defense in baseball beyond just the highlight reel plays. What makes a good defender, and what are the key elements of playing defense that normally go unseen? Tonight, it's Baseball in Focus, Defensive Significance on Fox Sports Arizona. And good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The second of a three-game matchup here. The D-backs and the Washington Nationals. Baseball defense will be our focus tonight. Luis Gonzalez will join us in the broadcast booth. But we haven't lost sight of a very promising pitching matchup. Steven Strasburg and Ruby De La Rosa. Strasburg last year, Bob, led the National League in strikeouts. This year, he hasn't been quite that same dominant guy.
Yeah, averaged over 5.5 strikeouts per walk last year as well. He's only 3-1 this season, but this guy has been must-see TV ever since he was the first overall pick back in the 09 draft.
Ruby De La Rosa last Thursday against the Padres was absolutely outstanding there. Strasburg, who left his last start early with some back trouble, he is healthy again after a bullpen over the weekend. De La Rosa, 7 strikeouts in 7 against the Padres last Thursday.
And what made that even more impressive was the fact that the Padres went on to pound out 34 hits and 13 runs in the next 3 games of that series. Ruby really shut him down in game 1.
A special show for you tonight. Gonzo will join us in our broadcast booth for a few innings early in the ball game. It's Baseball in Focus, Defensive Significance on Fox Sports Arizona. We'll talk to the Diamondbacks outfielders when we come back. Jody Jackson has more on that. And then it's first pitch, the D-backs and the Nationals on Fox Sports Arizona.
And welcome back to Chase Field as the Diamondbacks get set to take on the Washington Nationals. Jody Jackson with you here on the field, and we get set for our broadcast, which focuses a lot tonight on defense. Now, defense is all about, at times, making adjustments, and such has been the case for Mark Trumbo in his career. He's actually had more starts at first base than any other. This year, though, he's switching over to right field, and he's worked very, very hard with Coach Dave McKay to get better at that position. I asked him why right field suits him better than left field.
It just suits my eye better. It's kind of hard to put into words other than I think I get a little better break on the ball in right. Throwing is a tad easier for me, too. I think maybe something to do with maybe being right-handed, and some of the tougher plays are made a little easier in right, just like kind of the ones coming into the glove side, where in left field you're always reaching across your body if you're right-handed.
And here is a look at the defensive runs saved in Major League Baseball. Royals just off the charts. Blue Jays not far behind, but the Diamondbacks fourth in all of the majors, second in the National League with 13 defensive runs saved. So we shall keep an eye on that, as well as this pitching matchup. Steven Strasburg and Ruby De La Rosa, two guys that throw extremely hard. Who will win this battle? Well, it begins in moments. First pitch coming up next.
Arte manning center here at Chase Field. The D-backs and the Nationals. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson with you. It's our special Baseball in Focus broadcast. Defensive significance. Luis Gonzalez will join us in our broadcast booth a little bit later in the ball game, and we'll talk defense with Gonzo as the Diamondbacks try and slow down these Washington Nationals, who have been rolling as of late. Steven Strasburg for the Nats, and on the mound for the Diamondbacks, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher. It's 26-year-old right-hander Ruby De La Rosa, 3-2, a 4.38 ERA. He has allowed 1 run or fewer in 2 of his previous 3 starts. And Bob, that power fastball for Ruby has really been good lately.
Yeah, he's located it well. It's had some late movement in the hitting zone. We talked about his last start against the Padres. That was a hot hitting team coming into the series. Ruby slowed him down in game 1, and then they continued to be hot in the next 3 games of the series. He's going to rely heavily on that 4-seam fastball that'll approach triple digits, averages 95. Really good straight changeup. The slider is kind of a hit or miss pitch for him. Some days very good, other days not so much.
The Elias Sports Bureau said last night was the first time in their history the Nationals scored at least 10 runs before the end of the second inning. So they'll try and slow down the Nats after their hot start last night against Josh Colmenter. And this guy got everything started for Washington. Denard Span, a leadoff home run in the ball game last night. Kerwin Danley is our plate umpire. Span at .292 now, 3 homers. And we are underway with ball 1.
You see Aaron Hill down at third base already defensively taking away the bunt. You play in a position where it's just a low percentage proposition to try to drop that bunt.
There's a strike, 1-1.
Yeah, basically what the Diamondbacks are saying is we'd rather have you swing the bat here, take a chance that our defense will make a play, than give you an opportunity to bunt for a base hit.
Always the key when facing Washington to keep this guy off the bases. De La Rosa misses away there, and it's 2-1. Span has reached base safely in 15 of 17 games since he came back from the DL in the middle of April. Three and one.
Notice that very unusual stance by Denard Span with that front foot very pigeon-toed, pointing back toward Tuffy Gosewich as he takes his approach. Wants to make sure to keep that front hip closed until he makes his stride toward the pitcher.
That's in there for a strike. If you're going to draw up a leadoff guy center fielder, you might come up with Denard Span. He's certainly fits the profile. The guy you always have to be aware of leading off. Yeah, look at that toe. It's backwards. A little flare over the head of Nick Ahmed. He drops it into left for a base hit. And once again, Span leads off the game for Washington with a base hit. This is the Diamondbacks defensively in our defensive focus show.
David Peralta in left, Ender Inciarte in center. Mark Trumbo, we heard him talk about playing right field with Jody Jackson earlier. Aaron Hill at third, Nick Ahmed at short, Chris Owings at second, Paul Goldschmidt over at first. Tuffy Gosewich doing the catching for right-hander Ruby De La Rosa.
Now be careful here with Yunel Escobar coming off his 5-for-5 night last night. Now over 340 for the year, 15 hits in his last 26 at bats. Keep a close eye on Span.
Yeah, we saw how Span set up in the batter's box from the left side with that pigeon-toed approach. And look at Yunel Escobar. He's way up in the front of the batter's box. Most guys try to get as close to the back line of the box as they can. He's up near the front of the box. I'm not sure why against a hard thrower like Ruby De La Rosa. Usually the harder the pitcher throws, the deeper the hitter wants to stand in the batter's box. Usually the only time you see him move that far forward in the box is facing a junk baller, guy that throws a lot of breaking pitches, or a Tom Candiotti type, a knuckleball pitcher.
See Aaron Hill down there at third base. He really gets into that crouch ball, ready for a line drive smash right at him. Really gets down there low. Instead it goes right at De La Rosa. Chance to turn two here. Owings, Ahmed, Goldie, and they roll it. Well, it's a defensive show, and that's a good start. 1-4-6-3 off the pitcher to start off the double play.
Yeah, sometimes we don't pay enough attention to the pitcher's defense out there, but the fact that Ruby De La Rosa was able to slow that one down gave those two guys in the middle the opportunity to turn that 4-6-3 double play.
How much of a game changer is that for a pitcher out there?
Oh, it's huge, especially early in the ball game, and especially after what the Nationals did last night. You want to get your team back in the dugout as quickly as possible, and that double play is just what the doctor ordered.
So 8 pitches, 2 outs for Ruby. Here's Jason Worth. Worth nagged by a sore right shoulder after an operation in January. He's hitting under 190, just 3 extra base hits this year. Worth was hitless in last night's ball game. Came out early after a walk and an RBI. Rolls it to short, right to Ahmed. An 11-pitch first for Ruby De La Rosa. Good start here at Chase Field. Launch some long balls tonight against a pretty good pitcher. We'll see if they can rediscover the home run swings. Diamondbacks over the last week, third in the majors in homers, behind only the Brewers. And these Nationals, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for Washington, 26-year-old right-hander Stephen Strasburg. Goldie 5 for 12 career against Strasburg. Here's your scouting report.
He's a really good pitcher. He's got 3-4 really good pitches, and locates well and both sides of the plate, up, down. So just try to keep it simple, and hopefully when he makes a mistake, if he makes a mistake, you're able to hit it and they don't catch it.
Well, he's 2-3, a 4.73 ERA. He's given up 10 more hits this year than innings pitched after leading the league in strikeouts last season. The strikeout rate is down close to 10% from a year ago. Ender Inciarte looks at strike one. Ender in there batting .310 on the year, 2 for 4 with a double last night. And Escobar in a couple of steps on the grass at third. Mark Trumbo back in the 2-hole tonight, with the roof open and the panels closed on a beautiful night in downtown Phoenix. Is there a good way to defend Ender Inciarte, Bob? Because if you put a shift on him like we saw the Pirates do a couple of weeks ago, he'll just slap it the other way anyway. I'm not sure there is an answer for him, is there?
I think most teams just choose to play him straight up, try to pitch him in, out, up, down. Don't stay in any kind of a pattern, because we saw what happened when they played the exaggerated pull shift. Ender was shocked.
Yeah, it said it freaked him, freaked him out a little bit.
I'll take those base hits to left field. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there you go. He sprays it all over the field. And you throw him a fastball inside, he can turn on it. 1-2. Check swing foul at 96.
Strasburg throwing real hard here in the first inning. Everything 96, 97 miles an hour. His average velocity on his fastball was 97.3 back in 2010. It's dropped 3 full miles per hour this year. And not only his fastball, but his curveball and his changeup as well are 3 miles an hour slower than they were earlier in his career.
Strasburg left his previous start, which was a week ago, in the 3rd inning with back tightness, and his start tonight comes 1 day later than his usual turn in the rotation. Roll to first. That's a fair ball. Zimmerman collects it, and that's the first out. It's our defensive show. We'll look at the Nationals defensively tonight.
Jason Worth out in left field, Denard Span in center, Bryce Harper out in right field. You'll have Yunel Escobar at third, Ian Desmond at short, Danny Espinosa at second base with Ryan Zimmerman at first, Wilson Ramos doing the catching for right-hander Stephen Strasburg.
Mark Trumbo now. Trumbo at 287 on the year, 4 homers and 15 RBIs. Mentioned that Strasburg left his last start in the 3rd inning. Matt Williams flipped Strasburg and Max Scherzer in the rotation to get Strasburg 1 extra day here. Trumbo sends it out to Span in center. Really didn't get a good read on that. That was an interesting break by Span. They always say the toughest ones hit right at you. He kind of broke back, then came in. Didn't really seem to pick it up off the bat.
That humpback line driver right at you. You don't always get a real good read on how hard the ball is hit. So Span turned his body so he was ready to go back to the wall in case it was hit hard. But as it turns out, he came in and made it a pretty easy play.
2 down for Goldie. Paul Goldschmidt batting .342, tied for 3rd in the league in home runs. And he's 2 off the league lead in RBIs, second only to Adrian Gonzalez in OPS. Strasburg did throw a bullpen session on Saturday after he had to leave his previous start early. Everything was fine. He was seen by a chiropractor, had a back adjustment. And he's been given the all clear. He was asked about his last start Tuesday when he left that game after 3. Said he felt like he could have gotten through it even with the back trouble, but said at this point in the season you just want to get it right. So they took him out there just to make sure. And the thing with Strasburg was he said he subconsciously altered his mechanics to compensate for a twisted ankle suffered in spring training. And those adjustments created some back problems for him that forced him out early from that last start. 3-1 is upstairs, and it's a 2-out walk to Goldie.
You know that old children's song about the ankle bone connected to the shin bone and so forth and so on, and when one thing goes wrong, it tends to lead to other problems for a pitcher.
Well, that's been a criticism, Bob, with Strasburg, and there is the contention that everything needs to be just absolutely perfect for him to be happy and succeed. The conditions, the mound, the weather, the fingers from the catcher. He seems to be a little bit of a delicate flower up there from time to time.
A diva.
David Peralta. One thing about divas, they are talented.
Yes.
No question about that. Peralta 267 and 4 homers. Last dozen games, David hitting .333.
One thing about Strasburg, unlike a lot of diva-type starting pitchers, he gets the ball, gets right back up on the rubber. He works at a very quick pace.
Well, it could be argued that you had a couple of guys like that they were a little cranky from time to time. How do you deal with them?
Well, you hand them the ball every 5th day and get out of the way. I mean, there's certain privileges come with exceptional talent.
Yep, you will make exceptions.
Right or wrong, that's just the way it is.
There goes Goldie. Got a big jump on Strasburg. David didn't see it, maybe. Goldie could have walked into second base there.
We've seen that happen a couple times recently because David's a left-handed hitter and all of his focus is on that pitcher. I'm not so sure he picked Goldie and what a great break he had over there first base. I'm not sure he picked it up quickly enough. I mean, as a hitter, that's one where you'll take a strike to get Paul Goldschmidt to second base in scoring position.
Goldie's 6 out of 7 this year. 0-2 on Peralta. This is the lineup tonight for Chip Hale's Arizona Diamondbacks.
I've seen Inciarte at the top. He'll be in center field. Mark Trumbo in right field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. David Peralta out in left. Aaron Hill at third base with Chris Owings at second. Tuffy Gosewish doing the catching. Nick Ahmed at short. And Ruby De La Rosa on the mound. I've talked about this before. One of the things the advanced scouts look for is attempted pickoffs. Watch Wilson Ramos behind the plate. He was getting ready to throw behind Goldie down there, but that ball was fouled out of play. Observant advanced scouts will write on their report they were going to attempt a pickoff, but the ball was fouled out of play.
Wilson Ramos, a big boy back there. 230 pounds. 0-2 on Peralta. This is away. Mike Rizzo is here, the GM. He said Strasburg's recent back trouble really didn't alarm the Nationals all too much, and they're kind of used to Strasburg being one of those guys who knows his body very well. And when he told Rizzo after he came out of his last start early it was nothing serious, they were pretty good with that. And then Strasburg saw the doctors, and there wasn't a whole lot of fear it was something worse. He's very in tune with his physiology, Steven Strasburg. Everything needs to be just right, it seems.
And a slight similarity with Denard Span's batting approach and Steven Strasburg out of the stretch. Watch that front foot, in Strasburg's case to the left foot as he goes up into his set position. He'll point that left toe back toward the shortstop position to close that front hip up a little bit.
David shoots it the other way. A base hit into left field. And a pair of 2-out base runners for Aaron Hill.
Third baseman, number 2,
Aaron Hill batting .260 now with 3 homers. 0 for 2 with a strikeout last night. He left Monday's game early. He's up there with 2 on and 2 out.
Base hit by Peralta continues a trend for him. He's a 400 hitter this season with 2 outs in the inning. We talk all the time about those big 2-out hits.
Some guys just seem to have a knack for that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an easy way to explain it or a metric that will explain it, but you know, some guys can do that.
The sabermetric people go crazy when you try to quantify clutch. That's a dirty word in the sabermetric community. 1-1. Strasburg now with 22 pitches in the first, so a good start here for the Diamondbacks. Regardless, they've made him work. Strasburg has not gone particularly deep into games this year, regardless of the one game where he left early with the injury. He's been, you know, about a 5 1/3, 5 2/3 kind of guy this year.
His pitch count, the highest of the year, was 109 so far.
1-2. And Strasburg this season has not been putting up the big strikeout numbers he has in the past. His high for the year is 7 strikeouts in one game. He's done that twice. Last year finished tied with Johnny Cueto for the National League lead in strikeouts, but that strikeout percentage last year 28%. This year down to 21%. 1-2 is lifted in the air to right. This has a chance to get down, and it does. It'll reach the wall. Goldie scores. Here comes Peralta, and it's a 2-run double for Aaron Hill. 2-0 Diamondbacks. Last night, you'll take that.
Oh, absolutely. Another big 2-out base hit. Letter high fastball up and out over the plate. And he'll just pounded that ball into the gap in right center. Bryce Harper got a late jump from right field, and Bernard Span was shading Aaron Hill over to the gap in left center. So it's off to the races. 2 runs in. Aaron Hill in scoring position at second base.
Steve McCatty, the pitching coach, out to the mound now. Kerwin Danley out there to break this up. 2-0 Diamondbacks. They get a crooked number up there on the board against Stephen Strasburg in the first, the 4th double of the year for Aaron. And he's in scoring position for Chris Owings. CO back at second base tonight. 221 with 2 homers. Had a couple of hits in last night's ball game. Well, he is up there hacking.
Yes, he is.
Got 6 hits in his last 5 games, including a home run. Lines it right to Espinosa, and that's the inning. Diamondbacks strand 1, but they get 2. Gonzo's on his way into the booth. D-backs lead it 2-0.
who's doing the game for us? Is BB doing the game today, or is Gonzo? BB is? Okay. Gotcha. I just got to make sure I throw the right digs at the right people up there tonight.
Well, actually, Andy Green, we got both guys here.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused. We said this was a defensive show. Why
Absolutely.
Are you here?
Well, you know, I tried to knock in more than I let in. So I actually took defense pretty serious. But I let Finley do most of the work out there.
Good call.
And I relied more on just getting the ball and getting it in quick. That's all BB asked me to do. Just get it and get it in quick.
We didn't want you to have the ball in your hands too long.
Bryce Harper leads off the Washington second, sends one to the left field corner. And it's a sliding grab by David Peralta. Well, Gonzo, how about that? A defensive show here. And we have a defensive gem to start us off with you in the booth.
Absolutely. Great play by Peralta. He knows where he's at going down the left field line. He's got a good feel for the fence and makes a nice sliding play over there down the left field
Now,
line.
that's your spot out there in left. What about coming in like that full speed with that wall bearing down on you?
Well, he's got a good knack of where he's at, although he plays all the positions out there in the outfield, left field and right field. So sometimes for an outfielder, I was strictly a left fielder, so I was very comfortable out there in left. If I ever had to go to right, then that would be a little bit different angle for me.
Is it? I mean, we talked about that with Mark Trumbo. Is it really that big a deal, or is it just different for some guys?
I think it's different for some guys because if you primarily play one position your whole career and then all of a sudden you get moved, like for me, late in my career, they moved me to right field after I'd already played 16, 17 years in the big leagues as a left fielder. It was definitely a different look for me.
And the ball will react differently off the bat of a righty as opposed to a lefty, depending on which corner you're playing.
1-2 now on Ryan Zimmerman, who had that big hit last night, the 3-run homer in the first off Josh Colmenter. 236 and now 4 homers. Zimmerman has hit safely in 5 straight and 12 of his last 14. Tough he can't quite hang on to that one. How about Ryan Zimmerman, Gonzo? Because you started out as a corner infielder, didn't you, third base?
I did.
This guy was a Gold Glover at third base. He had some shoulder injuries, some throwing problems. He's had a number of injuries, in fact, over the last few years. But they lose Adam LaRoche to the White Sox, so they plug him in at first base.
Yeah, and I think you'll see his numbers offensively pick up a little bit more because he tends to put a lot of pressure on himself out there in the field.
It gets behind Ender and Ciarte. Peralta backs it up. We'll pick it up on the warning track, and Zimmerman has a double. Long way to run there for Ender, and he couldn't quite get there. Boy, Peralta really went, Gonzo, a long way to get to that one.
Well, he did. He felt like he had a nice beat on it, but unfortunately it was a line drive. If it had a little more of a hump on it, he might have had a better shot at getting to that ball. He still tracked it down pretty good, just missed it.
And you can take that risk to dive for a ball in the gaps if you're a center fielder or a corner outfielder for that matter. But the ball's down the line. You better be sure you can get a glove on it because there's nobody there to back it up down the lines.
Yeah, and of course he knows the speed of Zimmerman. That's a double for him. Most other quick runners, if that ball gets by you, it's for sure triple.
So here's Wilson Ramos, the hot hitting catcher, batting .320 on the year. A big 3-run double last night that really was the hit that broke the game wide open. And he's got a 14-game hitting streak, during which he's batting an even .400. Does it make a difference when you're next to the same guy in the outfield a lot? We've heard that a lot with some of these guys because they play different spots in the outfield.
I do. I think you tend to get a little bit more comfortable out there when you know how much room that guy can cover for you.
Broken back foul, and Ramos is going to need a new stick. There is a familiarity there. You know, will the guy have a tendency to back off, or is he going to run full speed at me? Like, what's the discussion?
Well, you know how much ground that guy can cover. I mean, for me, I knew Finley can go get it a long way, especially later on in my career when my shoulder was bothering me and I couldn't throw the ball. It was no secret if that ball was lofted up in the air and I had to make a throw to a base, Finley was going to be the guy to take it. I wasn't hiding that effect out there on the field. We all knew it on the field, so you know, I wanted the better arm to throw it.
0-2 to Wilson Ramos. A little pop-up foul ground, first base side. Goldie runs out of room.
And guys know the strength of the guy playing on either side of him out there. And occasionally there'll be a fly ball where either the center fielder or the right fielder can catch it. And depending on the throwing angle and where you're throwing the ball, you know, there should be some forethought there, and you take it because it's on your glove side or on your throwing side. Got to communicate. That's the most important thing in the outfield.
Yeah, it really is. And, like now you see Ender Inciarte moving over to the right side of second base back because the hitter has 2 strikes on him. So now the hitter is more of a defensive guy up there at the plate. He's just trying to put the ball in play and get that runner over and try to get him in.
So he's more likely just to kind of check swing it or a little soft drive out there to right center.
Absolutely. Just as Peralta did early in the game with 2 strikes, just shot a ball down the, into left field.
First strikeout tonight for Ruby on Tuesday. So I guess that makes tonight Ruby Tuesday.
Nice.
There you go.
I got that from the governor. I can't. I got to give him full credit. Ian Desmond, the shortstop now. And how about this, Gonzo? We talked about this last night. Desmond is one of the best shortstops in baseball. He's going to be a free agent after this year. He's going to be a $100 million player. But he had 8 errors in their first 12 games at shortstop. What happens when you've got a guy like that on your team? And everybody's watching him, and they know he's better than that, but there's not much he can do, is there?
Yeah, well, I think what he did was he canned his glove that he was using, and he went back to his old glove. And I think, those guys in the middle of the infield, corner guys, are very comfortable with gloves. Outfielders can, you get comfortable with a glove, but you can switch it up out there once it breaks in. In the infield, you're handling the ball so much that you want it to almost be form-fitting to your hand, and that's what happened to him. And now he's, and position guys, just like when you're offensive, you get into those fielding slumps.
He seems to have one very early April every year, and then is really good for the rest of the season. Right to Goldie. And Ruby De La Rosa strands that 1-out double. He's got a 2-0 lead. It's our defensive specialty show, and here's a highlight from David Peralta. Back with BB and Gonzo after this.
Well, heads up. I'm mic'd up tonight, Joe. I just give you a heads up. Good. Yourself?
Shit, I can't be in there.
Any more gigs at Handlebar J's lately?
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night? You got the next day off?
Yeah, the horn section will be there.
There you go.
The Cowboy, Joe West, he's got a country music. Get at least one album out there. He might have more than that, actually. Talking to Andy Green, who's wearing a microphone for us tonight, the Diamondbacks' third base coach on our defensive specialty show. It's tonight, Baseball in Focus, defensive significance here on Fox Sports Arizona. So Andy Green, who is the third base coach when the Diamondbacks are at the plate, but when they're in the field, he is responsible for all the defensive shifts in conjunction with Dr. Ed Lewis, who runs the analytics department here with the Diamondbacks. So Andy is wearing a microphone for us, just warning everyone around him, be careful here, I'm wired.
You got to do that sometimes when you're out there on the field.
Duffy pops that one straight up in the air. Escobar and Desmond, the shortstop, takes it for round number 1.
You know, the defensive alignments and things like that for the infields, it's a little more difficult for those guys. as an outfielder, you know, you really rely on counts, 2-0, 3-1. You know guys are trying to pull the ball when they get behind in the count, then you go the other way, opposite field. Although the game has changed so much, these guys are all big swinging, especially with 2 strikes. You see a lot more strikeouts in the game. Back when BB was playing and when I was first coming into the game, there was a lot more slap hitters and guys trying to put the ball in play with 2 strikes.
Choke up with 2 strikes. We see Goldie do it all the time. Go up an inch or so off the knob of the bat, just try to make contact and put the ball in play. But look out.
Kerwin Danley hit on the backswing by the baseball bat of Nick Ahmed. And that one got him pretty good. Or was it the baseball? Might have been the baseball.
Yeah, he got him in that hockey mask.
Ken Crenshaw, the Diamondbacks trainer, is out here to have a look. Take another look here. Yeah, the baseball got him square on the mask.
Right between the eyes. If he hadn't had the mask on, staggers him back to the backstop. We've seen this before. Kerwin usually takes at least one bad shot behind the plate.
Yeah, he didn't go down. He's up for the standing 8 count.
Rob Drake, Gabe Morales, and Joe West, the crew chief, the other umpires on this crew, as Ken Crenshaw continues to have a look.
Kerwin Danley, a pretty good college player in his own right, was a teammate of Mark Grace's at San Diego State, and Gracie has said that he thinks Kerwin might have been the best player on the team.
Is that right?
Well, DJ Rayburn was on the crew in last night's ball game. Gabe Morales is here tonight. Should Kerwin Danley not be able to continue? And I think that's what Joe West is saying. He's just sent Gabe Morales into the clubhouse. We might need another umpire here.
Guys are very familiar with working a 3-man crew. If you think back to spring training, a lot of those games are worked by 3-man umpiring crews, and they learn to rotate, cover all the bases, and certainly we hope Kerwin's all right.
You don't often see an umpire get staggered like that. That one really got him. There's another look at side angle now.
That squared him up pretty good there.
And Kerwin Danley is going to exit the ball game. So usually they can, I don't know if DJ Rayburn is here or not, or if Gabe Morales went in to put on the gear to work the plate. We'll find out in a minute. We'll be back after this. The Diamondbacks lead the Nationals 2-0. Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. A look inside Gonzo's closet. Now that's one of the team shops here at the ballpark. Moving a lot of those, Gonzo. They're selling like hotcakes.
I see that.
And we've had a break in the action here as plate umpire Kerwin Danley has had to leave the ball game. What does this do, if anything, to Steven Strasburg?
Well, I'm sure he'll be given as much time as he feels he needs to warm up when he goes back out there to the mound. But, any interruption like this, he went out to pitch the inning, got a pop up to short by Tuffy Gosewich, and then finds himself sitting back in that dugout again. Hopefully his arm will get stiff and he'll hang a few pitches.
Yeah, it's a small rain delay for him.
Well, he's been a work in progress this year. Steve McCatty, his pitching coach, has had to have a lot of discussions with Steven about his condition, his pitches, and the changeup and the fastball velocity and the whole thing. And with a little more on that, let's go downstairs to Jody Jackson. Jody.
Yeah, Steve, you talked about the injury, the ankle that Steven Strasburg rolled back in spring training. Well, it had to be taped until the other day. Finally took the tape off of it. Maybe it was more of a mental thing, and talked about the fact that he needs his body to be just right. Well, no one knows that better than his pitching coach, Steve McCatty. He talked about the situation.
3 starts before the end of spring, he rolled his ankle pretty bad, really bad. And it's been taped, and now that it's been taped, it's caused him not be able to get through on his pitches, and it's probably put a little stress, caused some irritation underneath his shoulder blade, so it really affected him last time, but he could have pitched with it. But, he's throwing 96, 97, and he's got great stuff, and he just needs to get on that little bit of a roll, get confidence going again, and he'll be fine.
So McCatty talking about the ankle again. He threw without it taped for the first time on Saturday, and Strasburg admitted, look, maybe it was a little bit mental, that restriction that was there. So, he says he's feeling better now. Obviously the results, D-backs were able to get to him a little bit in the first inning, but for Steven Strasburg going into this start, guys, he sounded a little more even keel about his health.
Well, he has been this year, Jody, a little more of a thrower and less of a pitcher. He's throwing more fastballs, relying on that velocity that McCatty mentioned, and fewer changeup. He really doesn't have a 2-seam fastball. He's pretty much strictly a 4-seam fastball guy. Last year, he threw that about 58% of the time. This year, it's up over 62%, and the changeup frequency is down. So the changeup, a big pitch for him last year, especially with 2 strikes. However, this year, just not throwing it quite as much. It's just pretty much just rear back and fire that big 4-seam fastball.
Yeah, with Kerwin Danley, the home plate umpire, knocked out of this ball game. We're waiting for the next home plate umpire, and there was no ball out there on the mound. So Ruby says, hey, here, take this one. Now, see, Gonzo, I know you. Ruby's got his batting gloves on. Technically, you're not ever supposed to touch the baseball with batting gloves on, just in case there's some pine tar on there or something. So if Gonzo was the next hitter, he'd ask the home plate umpire,
take it out.
Get a new ball.
Take that one out. We don't want that ball.
All right, well, we have 3 umpires back out there on the field.
Getting that back to that, BB, when there was a Clemens throwing or somebody throws hard and they yell from the dugout, hey, get them to check that ball when you're getting in that batter's box, and the hitter goes, like a Randy Johnson. No, I'm not getting them to check, because the next time the next pitch is going to buzz the tower. You ask them. You yell from the dugout.
I don't want to be the guy. Well, Gabe Morales, as you can see here, went into the clubhouse as directed by the crew chief, Joe West, put on the gear to work the plate. So Morales, who was the second base umpire, now takes over behind the plate, and you've got Joe West and Rob Drake on the bases. West at third and Drake at first, and we'll go with a 3-man umpiring crew. BB, is this a big deal?
No, these guys are used to doing it. As I mentioned before, they do it in spring training early on when they only have 3-man crews, and the guys on the bases will rotate around depending on where the base runners are. And hey, even the guy behind home plate, Gabe Morales, will rotate around from time to time to make a call at third or at first if necessary.
So West at third. Drake at first. You can see second base has no umpire out there at all. And Morales behind the plate. 2-2 now.
I was always of the attitude the fewer umpires you have on the field, the better.
Yeah. You know, I asked you that question, and I thought, well, duh. I mean, what's he going to say?
Yeah, BB's been known to not get too many Christmas cards from a lot of these umpires.
Strasburg really bounced that one. It's full 3-2 now.
Yeah, he didn't really throw a lot of pitches when he went back out there.
Yeah, just a couple.
You don't want to waste the bullets.
Diamondbacks have a 2-0 lead. Aaron Hill, a 2-out, 2-run double in the bottom of the first. Nick Ahmed chases that one at 96, and it's the first strikeout tonight for Steven Strasburg.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Gonzo, Nick Ahmed now has 5 hits in his last 52 at bats. He's really scuffling offensively. We know that. But how special is he defensively here on this defense show? What has his defense meant to the Diamondbacks?
Well, it means a lot. I mean, he saves a lot of runs out there at shortstop, but sooner or later he's got to pick up that offense, because if you look at our lineup, you know, 7, 8, and 9 in the bottom of the order, you can't keep giving away innings like that, because that, you know, it adds up after a 9-inning game. So you got to get somebody out there that's going to be hot, but of course you'd like to have him out there for defense.
Ian Desmond behind the bag, and the bottom of the second comes to an end. Diamondbacks lead the Nationals 2-0.
And his defense has obviously saved us games. If you look at the numbers, you can see we have some games or runs saved because of him. So that's an important part of the game, too.
Tonight, it's Baseball in Focus on Fox Sports Arizona. Defensive significance is our topic tonight, and over a good portion of this third inning here, we'll keep a close eye on Nick Ahmed, the Diamondback shortstop. 4 defensive runs saved already. That puts him in the upper echelon among all big league shortstops. So we'll go to 2 boxes here and keep an eye, Gonzo, on Nick Ahmed and what he goes through on every pitch here in this top of the third inning as Danny Espinosa leads it off for Washington.
Well, he's a very active shortstop. He's always moving around out there, and any ball he can get to is a pretty good chance he makes the play.
Yeah, first thing he did is go out there and clean up his garden a little bit.
That's
you know, some footprints out there, some clumps of dirt, smooth everything out so you don't get any bad hops.
Espinosa hitting .265 with 4 home runs. He's been striking out a lot lately. Punched out 3 times last night, but still had a pair of hits and scored twice. So you don't often get to see this stuff. And so we're going to give you a special look at the defense for both sides here tonight on our Baseball in Focus show. And what goes on behind the scenes between these pitches.
Starts out there on the grass, and even as he's coming forward, you may have noticed that time he took a little half a step to his left rather than come straight in. He's looking right in at Tuffy's signs. He knows what pitch is coming and makes even a slight half a step adjustment as he's getting into a defensive position.
Leadoff walk here in the third. First walk issued by Ruby De La Rosa. Now, how does this change things with a guy on first base? And you've got the pitcher coming up if you're the infielder.
Well, I think they all know now they're in a bunt situation, so everybody's, they get the bunt play down. Everybody knows where they have to go for this bunt situation here.
And for Strasburg, he should try to bunt the ball to first base because Goldie's holding on the runner there. He'll get a late break to home plate as opposed to Aaron Hill, who can charge as far in as he wants from third base.
That one got Tuffy down.
Yeah, most pitchers try to elevate the ball up high because they want him to get him to pop it up. The trainers are active today early in the ball game.
Well, we've already lost plate umpire Kerwin Danley. That one came under the mask of Tuffy. Got him on the chin, it looked like, or the neck.
Underneath the throat there. Oh, right in the Adam's apple. Wow. Man, oh man. Hey, you're right, Gonzo. The idea is to throw a high fastball. Maybe the guy will pop it in the air and you can get an easy out and keep that runner at first base. But when you throw that high pitch, more often than not, the pitcher's going to catch the top part of the baseball and bunt it right back in to the catcher or the umpire.
Ryan DePanflo, the assistant trainer out there. Now, here's something we always see, guys, with a runner on first base, the second baseman and the shortstop. Now, we'll keep an eye on Chris Owings here. This is all about figuring out who's covering the bag. There's a little signal. How does this work?
Well, they usually put the glove over their mouth, open mouth, closed mouth.
There it is right there. And what does that indicate?
Well, it depends which signal they want to go with. Open mouth is shortstop has the bag. If I have my mouth closed, then I'll take the bag. So they're just kind of communicating without yelling across the field so the base runners don't know what's going on.
So every time you see a runner on first, you'll see this between the second baseman and the shortstop. Now, CO's giving the signal because there's a right-hand hitter up?
Usually one guy or the other gives them all the time. One guy's kind of in charge of who's covering the bag depending on which pitch is being thrown.
Strasburg gets down a pretty good bunt, little lollipop throw from De La Rosa. We've seen him do that a number of times. And they move Espinosa up 90 feet.
That always scares me, Gonzo. I mean, even a lollipop throw like that can get up in the lights. Guys have trouble seeing them sometimes. Just give him a nice firm toss down there. You don't have to light him up with your best fastball, but don't throw it up in the lights either.
Yeah, and this goes back to spring training. These guys work on this, but a lot of times, to me, when you have 14, 15 pitchers out there, there's so much traffic going on. They're just trying to get through it.
When they're doing the drill,
when they're doing the drill, they just want to get through instead of really bearing down. And this spring when we were out there, we tried to talk to these guys. Hey, if you can put bunts down and make these plays, it keeps you in the game a lot longer.
Denard Span. Now Span's a left-hand hitter. You've got a runner at second base. What does that mean for Ahmed?
Well, it just depends how they're going to play him. If they think he's a slap hitter, he's got a little bit of power too, although he's a left-handed hitter. So they'll probably play him while they're playing him to pull out in the outfield a little bit, and the left fielder's playing him straight up.
Ahmed kind of sneaking in behind Espinosa there at shortstop. Now he backs off. And that one's upstairs at 97, 1-1.
When Ahmed breaks away early because he wants to get set, he knows Span has some pretty good speed at the plate. He wants to be able to set up to try to make a good play.
Now he's creeping back in behind the runner, Espinosa. Now he backs off. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
And just because you're a left fielder, Gonzo, doesn't mean you stand out there in left field and watch the game. Watch David Peralta. Third base is open right now. Tuffy's running down there. Peralta's coming in from left field. You've got nothing else to do. The ball's not hitting your direction. You might as well run in. You were great at that, backing up plays at third base from left field.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always a place for the outfielders to go. I know a lot of times you may not get one or two balls hit to you the whole game, but there's always a place to go, especially right field, backing up first base on certain plays, and left fielders on throws to second or something going over to third base.
Did you have guys that just BB, anybody, anywhere, or play with guys who just would never do that?
Oh, sure. They were standing in cement out there. You had to hit it right at them, or they weren't going to catch it, and they're sure not going to run in and back up third base or first base.
I played with a couple guys that never moved. It didn't matter who was hitting out there.
2-2 on Denard Span. 1 out, Espinosa, the runner at second. Diamondbacks lead it 2-0. Aaron Hill, a 2-run double in the bottom of the first. It's our special Baseball in Focus broadcast tonight. Tonight we look at defensive significance, and Gonzo's with us in the booth here for a few. Span lays off there, and it's full 3-2.
You know, talking about Nick Ahmed at shortstop, and because it's a left-handed hitter at the plate, Chris Owings is playing straight up at second base to try to cover as much of that right side of the infield. So Nick Ahmed is the guy kind of responsible for jockeying that base runner at second. If it stays this way for Yunel Escobar, a right-handed hitter, it'll probably be reversed. Nick Ahmed will be in a straight-up position, and Chris Owings will be closer to the bag.
Now Tuffy and De La Rosa have to get on the same page here. Now, why does Chris Owings come in and get involved with this?
He just wants to kind of figure out what their idea is, how they're going to pitch the guy, if they're going to come inside on him, stay away. Then he'll communicate over to Ahmed so they can stay on the same page here and kind of let him know.
And that runner's been out there at second base for a while now, looking in at Tuffy's signs, and you know, occasionally you get a little paranoid about that, and you don't want the guy relaying anything to that hitter at the plate, so you flip up the signs, and you got to let one of the middle infielders know too.
You mean like Will Myers was doing the other day?
Well, we think he was.
We busted him.
There's a lot of guys that are pretty good at it.
3-2 to Span. He drives it into the gap in left center field. Espinosa is going to score easily here as it rolls to the wall. And Denard Span has an RBI double. His 8th double this year. Nationals on the board. Span 2 for 2.
Third baseman,
He may have a little gray in his beard, but this guy can still play. Man, he goes and gets him in center field, goes down and gets that pitch out away from him, drives it into that gap in left center to put the Nats on the board.
Yeah, the strange part for me there was Inciarte was playing him to pull with a 3-2. This guy, you know, although he is a leadoff hitter, he's got some power.
And we saw that last night, a leadoff homer for Span. Yunel Escobar red hot up there right now.
And you see Chris Owings closer to the bag at second.
This is a guy who almost always puts the ball into play. Rarely strikes out Yunel Escobar. 5 for 5 last night. And now just under 340 for the year. Escobar hit into a double play in the first inning. Here's Andy Green.
That's how you draw it up right there.
Andy Green mic'd up for our broadcast. 1-1 on Escobar. That was scored a 1-4-6-3 double play as it went off the pitcher De La Rosa to start it off. Bounce to second. Owings has it. Span moves up to third, 2 down.
When we talk about defense too, a lot of times your defense is dictated a lot by the pitcher, his pace of game. You got a guy that's going up there rocking and firing, throwing strikes. Your defense plays a lot crisper and they're on their toes out there. When you got guys that start walking guys or works at a slower pace, it makes it a little bit more difficult for these guys to stay in focus and try to get a rhythm out there on defense.
A little deflating, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
So Span at third, 2 down. Here's Jason Worth, who grounded out his first time. Big swing and a miss.
Let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game tonight as we're highlighting the defense. Hey, you heard it the first day of Little League practice. Use 2 hands. Of course, big leaguers don't always do that, but young kids should, and anticipation is a big part of defense. Before that pitch is thrown, what am I going to do if the ball's hit to my right? What am I going to do if the ball's hit to my left? What if it's over my head? Always anticipate what you're going to do if that ball is hitting your direction.
Ruby now at 40 pitches, 26 for strikes. The 0-1 to Worth. Lifts it in the air to deep right field, but playable for Trumbo. A Strand span at third, but the Nationals get one. Bottom third coming up. Diamondbacks lead it 2-1. Hey fans, here's your chance to beat the Heat. Tonight's word is defense. Log on to foxsportsarizona.com/beattheheat and enter the word defense for your chance to win a trip to San Diego for the July 4th weekend. Throughout May, we'll give you a word of the day every game. Once you see it, go to foxsportsarizona.com/beattheheat and enter that word. The more times you enter, the better your chances to win a trip to San Diego for the July 4th weekend. All the info you need is at foxsportsarizona.com. The password is defense. Ender Inciarte gives it a ride. It's gone, a home run. First of the year for Ender, and it's 3-1 D-backs. Well, there's no defense for that.
I wanted to put a defender out there on the other side of the fence, but that's not allowed. Boy, Ender Inciarte, we were talking about Denard Span. Now he's got a little pop in his bat in that leadoff spot. Every now and then, Ender Inciarte will turn around an inside fastball.
Just the second home run given up all season by Steven Strasburg. Mark Trumbo looks at strike one.
That's got to feel good for Ender. Little guy hitting one out.
That's a second slider we've seen Strasburg throw tonight, a pitch that he doesn't use very often, mostly against right-handed home run hitters.
Well, this is the prototype right here. That one's in the dirt.
Well, this is when you're the guy that comes up next and he's trying to throw 100. And then you go back in the dugout after and thank Ender for hitting one out.
Thanks a lot.
Trumbo last 11 games hitting just under .320, including 3 homers. Chases that one and strikes out. Second strikeout for Strasburg.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 3 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Goldie walked and scored in the first. Came in on the Aaron Hill 2-run double. Goldie came out of the game early last night when it was a lost cause, trying to get him some rest, and Chip Hale said, you know, Goldie doesn't ever want any days off, so you have to get him time when you can, and last night was an opportunity. He had played before last night, Goldie, all but a handful of innings this season. Max Scherzer just shut the door after getting that 10-0 lead after 2 innings.
Yeah, I used to play for a manager that used to threaten me all the time before the game started. He was going to sit me out.
Now, who might that be?
Hey, you look a little tired, Gonzo. I think I'll give you tomorrow off.
Well, he has talked about that was his way to motivate you.
He did a great job of it because I didn't never want to come out of the game, and that's all he had to tell me. And I was like, oh, I'll be all right, Skip. Just let me go.
Well, Chip said after last night it's a hard thing to do for the manager because it looks like basically you're throwing in the towel. And people think that's what it looks like. But, you know, you're managing 162 games here, not one. And you got to think about things like that.
Well, he's been spraying them around pretty good. Strasburg bouncing balls way out in front of home plate.
Whenever anything with him, it seems, gets off kilter, it just really throws him off his game.
That was a pitch. Vladimir Guerrero was in his zone, right? It bounced right before it got to the plate. Goldie did a double take looking out there at him.
3-2 to Goldie. Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Strasburg. Well, you were right. Inciarte hit the homer, then he struck out Trumbo and Goldschmidt.
Sometimes, you know, pitchers are kind of going through their emotion, and then all of a sudden something negative happens to them, and then they turn it up a notch, and it kind of refocuses them. Let's hope that's not the case tonight.
Strasburg right at 50 pitches now, 31 for strikes. Peralta singled and scored his first time up. Same spot, knocks it into left field. Peralta running hard all the way, always looking for that little opening that might suggest he can get an extra 90 feet, but he's 2 for 2 so far.
He wasn't going to sit around and wait for that second pitch. He got that first one up in the zone. He took a pass at it.
Aaron Hill has the biggest hit so far for the Diamondbacks, a 2-run, 2-out double in the bottom of the first. And Aaron has really swung the bat well lately. Roller to first. Zimmerman has it, calls off Strasburg. And that's the inning, but the Diamondbacks get one more. Ender Inciarte, his first home run of the season. Just the second given up by Strasburg. The D-backs lead it 3-1. Let's take a look at our T-Mobile game-changing players. Goldie versus the Nationals and Bryce Harper versus the Diamondbacks. The average is almost identical. Diamondbacks lead it 3-1 as Harper leads off the fourth against Ruby De La Rosa. Gonzo, what do you think about this guy and all the hype about, you know, people Might not like the guy. He's just a 22-year-old kid who's grown up here in the spotlight center stage, but he seems to have matured as a hitter, certainly. But there's still a lot of people out there who he just kind of rubs them the wrong way. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he carries a lot of confidence, a lot of swagger out there, and his teammates seem to like him. There's a lot of guys that you play against in your career that when you play against those guys, you're not real big fans of, and then when you end up playing with them, you think they're great players because they find a way to motivate everybody else and get everybody going out there, and he's one of those guys.
Well, he's hitting just under 300 on the year, leading the National League in homers and RBIs, tied for the major league lead in walks. He's become much more polished a hitter up there, still just 22 years old.
And he's becoming a lot better hitter, like you said. I wouldn't go to his barber, but I like the way he plays the game. He plays the game hard and goes out there and gives you everything he's got.
1 for 4 last night. He's hit safely in 5 straight. He flat out his first time up tonight. 2-2. Yeah, Harper 4th in the majors in OPS, right behind Goldie. Duck hooked that one foul. It's 2-2.
Oh, and it's no secret this kid has been in the spotlight since he was 14, 15 years old. Covers Sports Illustrated. Left high school, went to college. Didn't he get out of high school early, right?
GED, yeah, 2 years early.
College of Southern Nevada. Played there 1 year, and he was the first overall pick in the draft 5 years ago.
I mean, that was must-see baseball even at the College of Southern Nevada. My son Michael was going to UNLV at the time, and we ran over and watched a game, and geez, there had to be 3,000 people there for a community college game.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Leads off the 4th. Here's a tough out. 98 from De La Rosa. He just gets a piece to stay alive.
Old school, no batting gloves, rubbing dirt on his hands.
It was kind of calmed down with that eye black too a little bit. I think that's helped.
Yep.
He had that Braveheart thing going for a while when he first came out. That is hammered into right center. It rolls to the wall. Harper takes the turn and heads for second, and he's in there with his 7th double.
He seems to take like a controlled, violent swing.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it's much more controlled this year. That's the key. I mean, there were times last year he'd swing so hard his helmet would fall off, his shoes would come untied. Head right down the barrel of the bat at the point of contact. Tremendous bat speed.
Yeah, he's got great mechanics up there at the plate.
Well, Harper says a big difference for him this year, and Bob talked about this last night. He's not trying to muscle up and hit a ball 900 feet all the time. He says if you're quick to the baseball and you're doing the right things, getting your hands to the ball is going to get off and go. Let that supply the power, and it's made him a better hitter.
I don't know about muscling up. I don't think he could swing the bat any harder than what he's doing right there. But
111 miles an hour off the bat.
Whatever he's doing.
Well, that's the 3rd double tonight for the Nationals. Zimmerman doubled his first time up tonight. And he looks at strike 1 from De La Rosa, who's now at 50 pitches, 34 for strikes.
For me, Trumbo plays a deep right field and over towards the line quite a bit. Leaves a big hole out there in right center. I think that's why you always see Ender Inciarte playing it in that hole.
And he hits it right into that gap in right center field. Harper had to hold up, and Bob Henley will stop him at 3rd. Couple of base hits to lead off the Washington 4th.
Hey, your job as a first baseman with the runner at second on a ball hit to the outfield. You're the cutoff man. You got to get to the middle of the infield. But that ball was hit so hard out to center field. Goldie was a little bit tardy getting to the cut position. You'll see him come running into your picture there and fielded that throw on the run.
Mike Harkey out to the mound now. Nationals have runners in the corners with nobody out, and a couple of hard hit balls here against De La Rosa to open up the 4th.
I think here you just got to try to limit the damage and try to get a ground ball double play and give up that run.
You're going to concede that run at 3rd?
Yeah, I would. You'd still be up by a run, and you get 2 outs. You trade 2 outs for a run here. Try to get your guys back in the dugout.
I mean, in a perfect world, you get an infield pop-up and then the double play ball. But you know,
spoken like a true manager right there.
That's what I'd call for. But you're right, Gonzo. Damage control, or inning management. I've heard pitchers term it that way as well. You know, realize the situation you're in. You never really concede a run, but if you can get out of this giving up only 1, facing the middle of the Nationals order with guys at first and third and nobody out, you'll take that.
Wilson Ramos with a 14-game hitting streak. Struck out looking his first time up. Over the glove of De La Rosa. Owens will take it in turn 2. Harper scores, and it's a 3-2 Diamondbacks lead.
There you go.
Well, there you go, Gonzo. You give up the run, but you get 2 outs.
2 outs, nobody on. BB would have liked the pop-up and then the ground ball, but
can't get everything you want, but that's tailor-made right there. Leading Chris Owings right to the bag, decides to take it himself. Easy double play.
CO took a little peek to see where Harper was coming across.
He and Desmond. Big swing and a miss there. Desmond grounded out his first time.
It seems like the scouting report. Ender seems to be playing everybody in right center field. He hasn't shifted over to that left side one time.
On the ground to second. Backs up Owens and he throws him out. Nationals make it a 3-2 ball game. When we come back, we'll show you a home run that Giancarlo Stanton hit at Dodger Stadium that you will not believe. Dodger Stadium tonight. Giancarlo Stanton, off former D-back Mike Bolsinger, hit it out of Dodger Stadium on the roof in left and gone.
I think Willie Stargell is the only other major leaguer to hit one completely out of Dodger Stadium. His was off the roof to right field pavilion, but man, what a blast that was.
Off Mike Bolsinger, and the Diamondbacks are headed to Miami. We'll play 4 in Miami starting next Monday, so you'll see Giancarlo Stanton right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Chris Owings leads off the D-backs 4th. CO lined out to second his first time.
I'm sure we'll see that home run many more times tonight and the rest of the week.
Holy cow. CO belts it into left center field. This one rolls all the way to the wall. Owings is on the run, and he's thinking 3. Second triple this year for CO.
charge on the ball twice tonight. Lined out to Espinosa at second in his first at bat and clubs this one into the gap in left center field.
So Owings on third to lead off the fourth. Tuffy Gozowicz fouls that one away.
Defensive special night here. Nationals with a runner at third base and nobody out, forced to bring their infield in against Tuffy Gozowicz. All the Nationals playing right at the cut of the grass.
That misses inside, a ball and a strike.
And that ball that Owings hit was a sure double, possible triple. The shortstop went out, second baseman trailed him out, knowing that they were going to have a shot at trying to get him at third base.
Tuffy had a base hit and a walk last night. He's got 9 hits over his last 7 games. And he belts that one into left. Here comes Chris Owings, and it's 4-2 Diamondbacks, an RBI for Tuffy.
Talked all season long about getting a little more length in the lineup. Those guys at the bottom had to start carrying some of the load, and Chris Owings in the 7th spot, Tuffy, or rather in the 6th spot, Tuffy Gozowicz in the 7th spot tonight, generating a run.
Nick Ahmed struck out his first time.
We got that run back, BB, that we gave away last inning. So
now 6 hits for the Diamondbacks. They lead at 4-2.
You know, that Chris Owings double to the gap in left center. I thought I saw Strasburg grabbing at his lower back after the pitch. Falls off the mound to the first base side, and
yep,
a little something going on in there.
Now remember, he had to leave his last start early, left after only 3 innings. That was on Tuesday. Did see a chiropractor for a back adjustment, through a bullpen Saturday, and everything was just fine. He was given the go-ahead for tonight's start. He's ahead of Ahmed 0-2.
Well, it just seems to me like Ahmed's a half tick behind everything. He's swinging under balls, and like that one he just took, that's a pretty good pitch to hit. It's almost like he was guessing, kind of in between.
He did not go, says Rob Drake down there. Last season, Nick Ahmed played most of the year AAA Reno and hit really well there. He batted .312. And his strikeout rate was barely 12%. But at the big league level this season, it's more than doubled. He's striking out 25% of the time. 60 pitches now for Strasburg, 38 strikes. 1-2 to Ahmed.
You'd like to see a little bit more putting the ball in play from a guy like that. You're going to get an occasional home run or a ball hitting the gap from him, but a guy like Ahmed has to put the ball in play and make something happen.
Back with you at the second game in Philadelphia, Citizens Bank Park. No TV on tomorrow's game or Friday's game in Philly as well. We're back with you Saturday. That's our next Diamondback broadcast here on Fox Sports Arizona.
You guys get a couple days off.
This is right about the time where you show up. Little roller. It's under the glove of Escobar. Ahmed's got a base hit into left. 3 hits off Strasburg to open up the Diamondback 4th. And from the 6, 7, and 8 hitters in the lineup as well.
That's what they got to do. It almost looked like Escobar was kind of fooled on that swing. He kind of just laid down on it.
Quicksand down there at third base. Didn't show a lot of range. That's what we were talking about. Just get the bat on the ball. Put it in play. Good things tend to happen when you put the ball in play. Escobar just couldn't get there quickly enough.
So now Escobar, who has been a shortstop his whole career, brought in to play second base here, but he's been at third all season, will come in on the grass. And De La Rosa gets the bunt down. Strasburg kicks it, and Ruby's aboard. The bases are loaded. It's unraveling on Strasburg here in the 4th.
The defensive fundamentals is look the ball all the way into your glove. You could clearly see Strasburg taking a peek at third base to see if he had a play there.
E1 is on the board. And they're loaded with nobody out for Ender Inciarte, who homered his last time up. Sacrifice E1. You've got Tuffy at third, Ahmed at second, and De La Rosa at first. Strike one. Gonzo, you like Ender as the leadoff guy?
I do. He's kind of the igniter, and I mean, with him and Pollock can kind of move around a little bit in the lineup. But Ender's one of those guys, an exciting player, slaps the ball around, could hit for power like he did the last inning.
Chip Halen talking about Ender Inciarte at the plate says one thing he really likes is that Ender just sort of hits to the situation. You never really see him gear up for distance. He can pull the ball. He can go the other way if the situation dictates.
Gives you that element of speed at the top of the order, too, with the guys you have in the middle of the lineup. Drive Ender in from first base.
If he can get a ball in that gap right down right center field, he can run for days.
Nationals bullpen gets busy. Stays alive on the 1-2 pitch.
I said you got to look the ball all the way into your glove. Matt Williams did that as good as anybody down there at third base. But watch Steven Strasburg's head as he gets close to this ball. Wants to see if he has a play at third base. Didn't look the ball all the way into his glove, and hopefully open the doors to a big inning here.
In the dirt, another block by Ramos, and it's even 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He's thrown a lot of balls in the dirt today. Unusual.
Just has not looked sharp. Diamondbacks have 7 hits. Strasburg has walked 1. He's got 3 strikeouts.
This is what I think Inciarte does so well. He makes that pitcher work. Throw those extra pitches, those tough pitches, just fouls them off.
He's become really good at that. He's a tough out. 2-2. Case in point. Not only 6 up in the seats.
Well, not only that, but he puts a lot of pressure on the defense because he can run, and now he's shown that he can hit for power. So these guys in the outfield and infield know that he's a scrappy type player that has good speed up there.
In the air, center field. Span is under it. Tuffy at third. He'll come on in. Ahmed moves up. 5-2 Diamondbacks. Another RBI for Ender Inciarte. And Bob, you know what that means.
5 runs.
Yes, indeed. We love it.
You're the one always holding up that drive-through line, aren't you, Bob? I had some friends tell me they saw you going through the drive-through.
Win this ball game tonight. We got a chance at the fast food trifecta.
That's right. So here's Trumbo. He's got Ahmed at third. De La Rosa, the pitcher, at first. 1 out. And a 5-2 lead. Trumbo was lined out to center and struck out 0 for 2.
I'd like to see Trumbo run into one right here.
There you go, Gonzo! Get out of here!
That's it.
You called it. His 5th of the year.
that slider that he uses to the right-handed power hitters, that was just a cement mix. Hung right there on the inside part of the plate.
And that is going to be the last pitch that Steven Strasburg will throw tonight. Mark Trumbo, a 3-run homer, makes it 8-2 Diamondbacks off the facade out there in left. And they chase Strasburg, who will survive only 3 1/3 back after this. On Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers. It was a 2-run Diamondback first. This is a 5-run Arizona fourth. They lead at 8-2, and Goldie is up there against the new Nationals pitcher from Avondale, Arizona, Sammy Solis. The left-hander. The numbers on Strasburg, 8 runs, all earned on 8 hits.
And like BB said earlier, all we have to do is get the bottom of the order, just start swinging the bat and putting the ball in play. And the damage was done by Trumbull, but the other guys in the bottom of the batting order got on base to make it happen.
You betcha. Owings led off the fourth with a triple. Gozawish singled him home for an RBI. Ahmed singled. De La Rosa reached on an error. Inciarte a sac fly. Trumbo a 3-run homer. And 8 runs is the most ever given up in a start by Steven Strasburg. So here's Sammy Solis, pitched at the University of San Diego, a 2nd-round pick by the Nats 5 years ago.
2007 graduate of Agua Fria High School. He was actually drafted by the Diamondbacks in 06, 18th round, but did not sign. Bad mistake, Sammy.
He's a local, huh?
26 years old. This is only his 4th career major league appearance. Two and 2 to Goldie, who has walked, scored a run, and struck out so far. 0 for 1. Well, last night, the first time in franchise history the Nationals scored at least 10 runs in the first 2 innings. And tonight it's the Diamondbacks' turn to put a big number up on the board. Zimmerman makes a nice catch along the railing, and they retire Goldie.
That's actually a pretty nice play by Ryan Zimmerman, moving from the third base side of the diamond over to first base, got over to the fence in front of the dugout, and then made the adjustment as that ball came down.
That's the advantage of having that big taco over there at first base. Got a couple extra inches on that glove.
David Peralta. Peralta 2 for 2, a pair of singles. He has scored a run. There's the glove on Zimmerman, who's been a third baseman his whole career, but this year he moves over to first. Espinosa collects this one. And Peralta stumbled coming out of the box, but he appears to be all right. The Diamondbacks get 5. Mark Trumbo, the big blast off the facade in left field. A 3-run homer, his 5th of the year, and it's 8-2 Diamondbacks. Superheroes night. Well, guys, David Peralta remains in the game in left field for the Diamondbacks, but he took a bit of a tumble coming out of the box to win the bottom of the 4th. Let's have a look. Ryan DePanflo, the assistant trainer, was out there with Chip Hale. David has stayed in the game. He's good to go, but this one was a little awkward.
He just kind of turned that left ankle a little bit as he tried to make the turn and head down that first baseline.
8-2 Diamondbacks as we start the 5th. Danny Espinosa, the second baseman, will lead it off for the Nationals. As the Diamondbacks chase Steven Strasburg, who lasted only 3 1/3, the most runs ever given up in a start by Strasburg. One pitch, one up to Ahmed. Nice belt high hop that backs him up for out number 1. A reminder, you can vote online for the All-Star game this year, right here at Chase Field. A new system, Gonzo. They got rid of the paper ballots. It's all online this year.
I like it.
And we have some voting stations set up here at the ballpark to vote for your favorite Diamondback.
I'm sure Trumbo will get some votes tonight after hitting that 3-run bomb and hitting one in somebody's soup up there at Friday's front row.
Sammy Solis, the pitcher.
This guy ought to be a starter.
Was that hard, Gonzo, back in your playing days to fill out all those all-star ballots?
I tell you what, I stayed up all night. My kids, at a young age, I taught them real quick how to work that drill to get them all through.
A lot of those chads all over the floor at the house.
I know.
That's why we got rid of the paper ballots.
That's it. I told them it was confetti. The little.
Base hit for Sammy Solis. He knocks it back up the box. A 1-out single. His first major league hit.
Center fielder Denard Span.
Local boy makes good.
His family.
Yeah, I got a cheering section here. They went crazy when that ball rolled into center field.
Yeah, good for them. Denard Span now 2 for 2. And they have the souvenir.
It'll get tucked away nice and safe.
Center field in Ciarte. Well, Ruby De La Rosa's last start was an 11-0 Diamondback win. That was Thursday against the Padres on the Throwback Thursday.
Third baseman.
And he said that big early lead made him comfortable out there. There was no question. Made him go out there and just throw strikes, and now he's up 8-2 here in the 5th. Yunel Escobar, who's hit everything in sight these days, is 0 for 2 so far tonight.
Well, I know the fans couldn't hear it at home, but as soon as that ball was hit straight to center field, you could hear one of the corner outfielders yelling in, because they get a better read of it from the side view. A lot of times in the outfield, the toughest balls are the ones hit right at you. You don't know whether to come in or go back on them. That's when you rely on those guys on the sides of the field to help you out.
Andy Green mic'd up for us tonight, responsible for the defensive positioning for the Diamondbacks. 0-1 to Escobar. 0-2. 95's in there for a strike. Last night, Escobar's second 5-hit night this month. He was 5 for 5 on May 4th when they beat Miami. He's the only player in Nationals history to have 2 5-hit games in one season. Not tonight. De La Rosa strikes him out. Well, you got us enough runs. You did a heck of a job. Thanks for coming by.
I got us, 6 in the couple innings I was here.
You're a superhero.
I'm a superhero. I'm going to be wearing this on May 22nd. Come on out and get you one. I'll be wearing mine.
Presents this day in Major League Baseball history. A skinny Mark Grace playing for the Chicago Cubs hit the first splashdown home run in the Chase Field pool.
Well, that's just the HD compression. That's
what it is. Okay.
The RamTrucks.com pool area on this date back in '98. Aaron Hill leads off the Diamondback 5th. 8-2 D-backs. They chase Strasburg after 3 1/3. Home runs tonight by Inciarte and Trumbo. Great job by Gonza to get us some runs. He really came through big time.
He did that a lot during his career.
Instant offense. Aaron Hill opened up the scoring, a 2-run double back in the first.
You know, we have a lot of fun with Gonzo, kind of making fun of his defense a little bit, but the reality is he played more games in the outfield, more innings in the outfield. His fielding percentage was 3rd only to Steve Finley and Chris Young. And he's 2nd all-time in assists from the outfield. Only Gerardo Parra had more for the Diamondbacks. And it was just a shame he had the shoulder problems really hindered his throwing, but he could go get him out there.
Well, it's always fun to have him in the booth. I know we have him standing by when you take some time off later this year. Aaron Hill belts that into center of base hit. He's 2 for 3. Chris Owings had a big hit to lead off the last inning. a triple. He came in and scored. We've got third base coach Andy Green mic'd up. This was Andy on the CO triple.
Split that gap. Come on, CO. Come on, CO. Come on, CO. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. We're down. We're down. Right here on the base, attaboy. Nice job, Christopher.
Andy Green at third for the Diamondbacks. Got that little accent going. Come on.
And that last little comment, stay on the base, because the ball's right here. A lot of times guys will slide in there and one foot will pop off the bag and they'll put the other foot back on. But when the ball's right there, the third base coach lets you know, stay on the bag.
And that's the Chris Owings that we know, the guy who's just belting balls down the lines and in the gaps. That's who he is. That's the hitter he was 2 years ago when he hit .330 at Reno and was MVP of the Coast League.
Starting to make those kind of noises again over his last 5+ games, hitting over 300 with a couple of doubles, a homer, a triple. He's driven in 3. Starting to shake things loose.
0-2. There it is again. That is a fair ball. Down the left field line. It's in the corner. Andy Green will stop Aaron Hill at third, and Chris Owings has a double, his second extra base hit tonight. That's the Chris Owings that we know.
Catcher, Tuffy goes away.
They're so quick from that middle of the plate in, especially on the off-speed pitches. He gets out in front of it, but he's able to keep it fair down that third baseline. That's the key. Watch the umpires. Working with a 3-man crew. You see Gabe Morales has to rotate out to be responsible for the call at third. The first base umpire, Rob Drake, comes down the first base line. He's responsible for the calls at home plate.
And if you're just joining us, we lost our plate umpire tonight, Kerwin Danley, when he took a foul ball off the bat of Nick Ahmed right between the eyes. And so Gabe Morales, who was the second base umpire, had to go get the gear, put that on, and he is now working the plate. And you can see with runners on second and third, Rob Drake, who's at first base, moves over to second here with a 3-man crew. There's the strike, and it's 0-2. That's looks like Goldie.
Yeah. That's nice.
Not bad from that far away.
Make the guns just a little bigger.
A ball and 2 strikes on Tuffy goes away. Tuffy had an RBI single and scored a run his last time. He's got 10 hits over his last 8 games now, including 6 RBIs. 2-2. Look out, Aaron Hill down there. Dick Roberson, our Golden Glover, manning the left field line tonight. Scott Chan in right field. Dick's always had great range. There's a look at Scott. Went way out there to get that one.
Yeah, got 2 lefties tonight. Normally you like to put a righty on the third base side and a lefty on the first base side, but have 2 lefties tonight.
Fans at the 2-2. Here comes Nick Ahmed, who singled and scored a run his last time up. Let's go down to Jody.
Well, guys, I was trying to find Nick Ahmed today to talk about defense because we know how great he is over at shortstop. The thing about Nick is you will never find him standing at his locker or standing in the clubhouse. He's constantly working in the cage, extra batting practice. As far as hitting, Chip Hale said, look, he's trying hard. He's making a lot of adjustments. He's the first guy here. He said, I know he's the last guy to leave because I always leave late, and I see Nick's wife out there. And he was asked today, Chip Hale was asked, has there been talk of sending Nick out, sending him to Reno maybe? And he said, no, we haven't talked about that. He's going to continue to work hard, and we love his defense.
Well, the defense is special. There's no question about that. And he's hit in the minor leagues. Granted, it's Reno, but he hit .312 last year in AAA. He's going to get the intentional pass with Ruby De La Rosa, the pitcher, due up next, and first base open.
Another guy that kind of struggled at the plate, but was a stellar defender early in his career. Matt Williams, the Washington Nationals manager, former D-back, hit 188 for the Giants in 1987, hit 205 the next year. 1989 hit 202.
Was he playing shortstop then?
Played shortstop initially when he came up to the big leagues in '87. But he still played pretty much every ball game when he was up at the major league level because of that glove.
So bases loaded, one out for Ruby De La Rosa. Reached on an error by Strasburg his last time up and scored a run. See if he can add to his 8-2 lead. So Elise gets the strike call from Gabe Morales. It's 1-1. It's Ruby Tuesday. 9-2 Diamondbacks. Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you. It was the Nationals' turn last night. Tonight, it's all D-backs.
Keep the line moving. Even those guys at the bottom of the order, including the number 9 hitter, Ruby De La Rosa.
His first major league RBI.
Yeah, Archie Bradley's fired up. Harper overran that ball just a little bit in right field, but Andy Green had already thrown up the stop sign to Chris Owens.
Well, they're still loaded now for Ender Inciarte, who's got a homer and a sacrifice flies driven in 2. Two and 0.
You might go weeks as an everyday player in the major leagues without getting an at bat with the bases loaded. Ender's had 2 in his last 2 trips to the plate.
Well, the bottom of the Diamondback order has really come through tonight. Inciarte lifts it in the air, high to left. It backs up Worth. Owens at third will tag. The runners move up, and it's 10-2 Diamondbacks. 3 RBIs tonight for Ender Inciarte. Good job by all 3 runners to advance there.
You'll watch Jason Worth out there in left field try to get behind this ball. His mistake is throwing to third base right here. If you make that throw into second base with the slower Ruby De La Rosa, you hold that runner at first. But by throwing to third base, it allowed De La Rosa to move into scoring position.
Well, Mark Trumbo was up there with 2 runners on in his last at bat back in the 4th, and he launched one just under the Friday's Front Row Sports Grill out there in left. His 5th of the year.
Crosser.
Here comes Ahmed, and now he's got himself hung up. And that will end the inning. So an unfortunate way to end the inning for the Diamondbacks, but they keep tacking on. They lead it now after 5, 10-2.
Hey fans, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up at one of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Arizona Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Well, a great night to be with us at the ballpark tonight. The Diamondbacks have scored 10 runs on 11 hits. They chase Steven Strasburg after 3 1/3, and they have a 10-2 lead here for Ruby De La Rosa as we start the 6th.
Leading off for Washington, left fielder
Ruby so far has given up 2 runs on 6 hits. He has walked 1, 2 strikeouts. And how about that pitch count? 5 innings, only 64 pitches. Very efficient here. It'll be Worth, Harper, and Zimmerman 3, 4, and 5 in the Washington 6th. Jason Worth so far 0 for 2. He is really struggling with that sore right shoulder.
We saw it in the ball game last night when Chip Hale pulled the plug on Paul Goldschmidt and later Aaron Hill. We may see the same thing from Matt Williams tonight with a couple of his players.
Lines it to center. It drops in front of Inciarte, and Worth has a leadoff single. Well, here comes Bryce Harper. Harper so far has flied out, doubled, and scored a run, 1 for 2. He's hit safely now in 6 straight. Mentioned this last night, Bryce Harper swinging at fewer pitches outside the strike zone than ever before. And on pitches inside the zone, he's making better contact than ever before. He's walking twice as often as he did last year. In fact, leading the major leagues in walks coming into the ball game tonight. A nice pitch there by Ruby.
We saw Bryce Harper earlier in the game with no batting gloves on, reaching down, grabbing big handfuls of dirt. This time he's got a glove on each hand.
Well, Ruby's got him tying himself up in knots here. He's got that thumb protector on there too. Well, that changeup is really dropping down and away from the lefty. Harper this year a walk rate of 20%, just about double his career average coming into the year. Seems to have a much better command of the strike zone. It's funny, he says he's not swinging hard anymore. We've talked about that, but he's up there, man. He takes his cuts. There was a while where he was kind of doing that Ichiro thing where he'd almost run up in the batter's box and swing at it. 70 pitches now for Ruby, 50 for strikes. Gets this one up in the air, and that is headed out to right field and gone. Bryce Harper, his 12th home run of the year, and it's a 10-4 ball game. Leading the National League in homers and RBIs, Bryce Harper adds to his totals.
First baseman, Zimmerman.
Another changeup. Out, down, low, and away. That's not even a bad pitch. But when you're locked in like Bryce Harper has been over the last week or so, you can hit anything. And that is a really good changeup, fading down low and away, maybe even out of the strike zone. He went out and hooked it back to right field for a 2-run home.
Now 2 ahead of Todd Frazier, 3 up on Goldie for the National League lead. Ryan Zimmerman 2 for 2. That's the 7th home run given up this year in 7 starts by Ruby De La Rosa. And Zimmerman, who homered last night, rolls it on the ground to shortstop. Ahmed throws him out, 1 away.
You know, a lot of times a home run is a result of a bad pitch. We saw Strasburg hang a slider to Mark Trumbo, but this is not a bad pitch. That changeup fading down low and away. Not a textbook home run swing by Bryce Harper, but he got the barrel of the bat on it and got enough to get it out of here to right field.
That's almost like a two-strike emergency hack. I just need to get a piece of this to stay alive kind of a thing. But he's so strong, he lifts it up in the air and carries it out to right field.
Too close to take. I'll just hit it out of the ballpark.
Wilson Ramos. He did not go, says Rob Drake down there. Ramos 0 for 2 so far. He's got a 14-game hit streak on the line. Well, some guys have that front foot. You know, they'll have a little protector or something. He's got, it's almost like a walking boot on that thing. A little dribbler to second base. Owings cleans it up, 2 down. Look at that front foot there. He's got a couple of pads taped to the shoe, it looks like.
Yeah, one to the top of the shoe and the other one to protect the ankle in the instep.
Shortstop, Ian Desmond.
Ian Desmond. Well, you got to be careful with these Nationals. Remember, they will all tell you to a man that the game that turned this around for them was back on April 28th. They were down in that ball game 10-2. Came back and won 13-12. So they're not going away, not with all these hitters in the lineup.
I said a few moments ago that maybe Matt Williams would pull the plug on some of his regulars and give them a half a game off the way Chip Hale did last night, but that Harper home run may change his mind, keep his guys in there a little bit longer.
This is their first trip out west this year. 0-2 on Desmond. Got him. Third strikeout for De La Rosa, but the Nationals get 2 more on the Harper homer to make it a 10-4 ball game. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Mark Trumbo, a 3-run homer his last time up. He leads off the Arizona 6th.
Again, as always, Diamondbacks Live coming up right after this game tonight. And Joe Borowski, it's ironic. On the night when we're focusing in on defense, we've seen just about everything, haven't we?
We sure have. We've seen double plays, sliding catches. We've even seen errors. So why don't we dig a little deeper, and we'll see exactly how these guys prepare themselves to put themselves in the positions to make these plays.
So you brought your production company to have
ready to
extra
go.
angle and extra look.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there you have it. Hopefully a different tone than we had last night. Guys, we'll send it back to you. Don't forget, after the game, it's Diamondbacks Live.
Certainly is a different tone. Nice to have the Borowski production company here with us, BB.
I saw the trucks parked outside. I knew they were here.
Cables and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, this is our Baseball in Focus show. Defensive significance, but we've had so much offense to cover here. We Gonna have to stay on top of that. Mark Trumbo leading the charge, a 3-run homer in his last at bat in the 4th inning, and he got every single bit of it. And the problem with Mark is his 5th home run of the year. He's such a big guy that it's problematic for Andy Green down there at 3rd every time he comes around. Let's listen to Andy Green now after Trumbo homers. Right after this pitch. Andy's a little dude out there, and Mark is 6'4", 235, so it's kind of a mismatch. Here's Andy Green.
Who's going to reattach my shoulder after Trumbo separates it? I'm right here. He hits me harder than I've ever been hit in my life. My hand's out just for the handshake, and he comes through. Boom!
Boom is right. There's another one. Now let's keep an eye on poor Andy Green down there at 3rd. Trumbo's 2nd homer and 2 at-bats, and here he is. Take it easy on the guy. Mark Trumbo, 2 home runs tonight, now 6 on the year. It's 11-4. His 6th multi-home run game of Mark's career.
The first one was a towering, majestic fly ball. That one was a line drive into those bleachers in left.
Well, you know, that's really who he is, it seems. When he hits homers, he tends to hit them in bunches. (11-4) Diamondbacks. 111 miles an hour line drive off the bat of Mark Trumbo. His 2nd home run tonight and his 6th this season. And here's Goldie. Nationals last night, 11 runs on 15 hits. Diamondbacks tonight so far, 11 runs on 12 hits. And the Nationals have still yet to retire a batter here in the 6th. Goldie walks for the 2nd time tonight. That pitcher's coming along nicely.
Middle of the plate fastball this time. The hanging slider the first time around against Steven Strasburg. Just a screaming line.
David Peralta, 2 for 3, a pair of singles. He scored a run. There's the strike. Well, the D-backs tonight so far with some innings to go here have a chance to top Washington's offensive effort last night.
One thing a big lead will do is you get a look at the Nationals bullpen beginning to heat it up again. And because you have the big lead, you can leave David Peralta in the game here to face a lefty. Get him some at-bats. David struggled against the lefties last year, but closer ball game, you might see A.J. Pollock or Jordan Pacheco or Yasmani Tomas take this at bat, but David will get a chance here to face the lefty.
That's one of the big reasons David played winter ball in his native Venezuela. Played 55 games down there this winter and did well. Hit .319, 32 RBIs. Wanted to get at bats. Went down there looking for at bats against left-hand pitchers. And in winter ball this year, he hit just under .260 versus lefties. He was under .200 against left-hand pitching last year. Diamondbacks Live post-game show with Joe Borowski and Todd Walsh follows our ball game. They'll have a lot to talk about. The Borowski production company working feverishly here on all their elements. Little fly ball into center for Span. And that's the first out here in the bottom of the 6th. Brings up Aaron Hill, who's got a pair of hits. A single, a double. He's driven in 2. He scored a run. Sammy Solis now 50 pitches on in relief of Steven Strasburg. And it's his turn, I guess, to be Vidal Nuno. After Nuno's tremendous effort last night. That was he really saved the week last night, Vidal Nuno.
He really did. I mean, it could have easily been a 5 or 6 relief pitcher night last night in relief of Josh Colmenter, but because Nuno was able to do what he did, bullpen is pretty fresh going into play tonight.
Well, man, Williams will check in with plate umpire Gabe Morales, so he's going to make the move here and bring in the right-hander. That's Matt Grace, who's been warming up. And Dan Ugla is going to come into the ball game as well, it looks like. So changes for the Nationals. Another homer for Trumbo. D-backs lead at 11-4. Back after this. And Memorial Weekend right here at Chase Field. A big matchup against the Cubs. Don't miss the game Friday, May 22nd. It is Superhero Night. This is one of the coolest giveaways of the year. You can get your D-backs Superhero t-shirt, which Bob Brenly will model right now. How about that? Now that is cool.
This is Gonzo's. I'm keeping it.
Now, to get the Superhero t-shirt, you have to buy the Superhero Night special event ticket package. We won't hand these out at the ballpark. You have to buy the ticket package, and you can do that right now online at dbacks.com/events. Get the ticket package and get your Superhero t-shirt Friday, May 22nd against the Cubs. That's a big weekend. Matt Grace is on now. You've got the Superhero shirt Friday the 22nd. The hunting hat the 23rd. We have some of those up here as well. Now that is a tremendous hat. And then fedora night on the 24th as Aaron Hill greets Grace with his third hit tonight. Now you have one of these hats. These are very cool looking.
Yeah, this is kind of the Elmer Fudd camo Diamondbacks hat. It's got the ear flaps. You can flip down if it gets cold. I mean, that is functional and fashionable.
You wascally wabbit you. Yeah, that is Saturday the 23rd, fans. Get your hats. And then the fedora is the next day, the 24th. So it's a great giveaway weekend here coming up later this month against the Cubbies, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Superhero shirt on Friday, hunting hat on Saturday, fedora on Sunday. Chris Owings just barrels up another one. He drops it into center field. Andy Green will hold Goldie at third, and the bases are loaded. Defensive changes for the Nationals. Ian Desmond has come out of the ball game. Dan Uggla, the veteran, takes over at second base. And Danny Espinosa moves from second to short, replacing Desmond. Uggla will hit ninth. Pitcher spot now seventh in the order for Matt Williams. Chris Owings 3 for 4. He's a home run shy of the cycle. Goldie at third, Hill at second, Owings at first. So if he goes a wish. An RBI single. He scored a run back in the fourth. He's 1 for 3. Diamondbacks now with 14 hits. I got a stat for you here, BB.
Okay.
Everyone in the Diamondback lineup tonight, including the pitcher Ruby De La Rosa, has scored a run. 11-4. That's in there for a strike. 1-2. Top to bottom, 1 through 9, everybody scored.
One player for the Diamondbacks is hitless at this point of the game. Goldschmidt.
Goldie has walked twice, struck out and popped up. He has scored a run. He's 0 for 2. And for a guy that doesn't have a hit, he sure looks like he's having fun out there.
Well, that's because the Diamondbacks are winning, and that's always the most important thing for Goldie.
Joking around with Andy Green down there. That one gets behind Ramos, and here comes Goldie. 12-4 Diamondbacks. Everybody moves up.
Form of Wilson Ramos right there. He didn't want anything to do with that ball. Came up out of his crouch, left a big hole underneath his glove and between his shin guards. That one gets all the way through to the backstop. It'll go as a wild pitch on the pitcher, but that was a poor effort by Ramos.
Now it's Hill at third and Owings at second. Well, the Diamondbacks have outscored the Nationals from last night, 12-11. Washington had 15 hits last night. The Diamondbacks right now have 14. And you know what they say about payback? She's not very nice. 2-2 to Tuffy. That's in the seats. Take a look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Gio Gonzalez for the Nationals. Jeremy Hellickson for the Diamondbacks. No TV tomorrow. Getaway day. The Governor, Tom Candiotti, have the call for you. Radio only game tomorrow, as well as the series opener Friday in Philadelphia. Thursday's a travel day. And so Bob and I are back with you on the TV side Saturday for Archie Bradley's return in Philadelphia. Get the popcorn ready. Archie Bradley and Jerome Williams Saturday. 4:05 Arizona time from Citizens Bank Ballpark. Tuffy belts it out to Worth. Aaron Hill will tag up, and the Diamondbacks lead it 13-4. Second RBI tonight for Tuffy.
A lot of hard hit balls in this game, including that last one by Tuffy Gosewich, line drive that just froze Jason Worth in his tracks out there in left field. Couldn't get any momentum on his throw, couldn't get much on it anyway, as Aaron Hill comes home and scores easily.
Brings up Nick Ahmed, who's been on base twice tonight. Singled and scored in the fourth. Walked his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Diamondbacks over the last week, third in the majors in home runs, behind only the Brewers and these Nationals. D-backs have hit 3 homers tonight. Inciarte a solo shot in the third. Trumbo's hit 2, a 3-run shot in the fourth, and a solo homer to lead off this 6th inning. And the Diamondbacks, 2 in the first, 1 in the third, 5 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, and 3 more here in the 6th. Trying to cool off a Nationals team that is rolling lately. They've won 5 in a row. Ahmed up the middle and into center. They're going to wave Owings, and he will score. It's 14-4. Second hit tonight for Nick Ahmed.
run of the game scored by Chris Owings. This one just a hard ground ball right back up the middle of the field.
You know, he's such a key bat in this lineup for me, Bob, Chris Owings. When he's hitting line drives down the lines and in the gaps, and he's an active presence offensively, it's a real difference maker.
No question about it. And he, too, has great speed. He's a really good base runner. He can steal a base for you late in a close ball game.
It's when you're talking about the depth of the lineup, top to bottom, and when CO is scuffling, you know, the bottom part of that order, it just looks a little thin than it needs to. But when he's hitting, and then you get Jake Lamb back or Tomas is swinging a bat. Now Aaron Hill has really picked it up lately. Suddenly, top to bottom, the offense has a whole different look and feel to it. 0-2 now to Ruby De La Rosa. CO tripled and scored in the 4th, doubled and scored in the 5th. Singled and scored in the 6th. 3 for 4, a home run shy of the cycle. De La Rosa strikes out, and Grace is out of the inning, but the Diamondbacks tack on 4 more, and through 6 they lead the Nationals 14-4. Sixth here at the ballpark. Tony La Russa bobblehead night, and Joe West tells Andy Green he's going to need a couple of cases.
You got something for him?
Oh, I got a good one. They got his bobblehead coming up, right?
You want one, right?
Well, I want cases. Tell him I need 2 cases.
How about Cowboy asked me for he goes, tell La Russa I need 2 cases of his bobblehead. I said, 2 cases? He goes, yeah. I got a new rifle. I need some target practice. He said, can you tell him that? I was like, you just did.
He's mic'd up for us tonight, Andy Green, and there is the chief baseball officer and the Cowboy. We have one of the Tony La Russa bobbleheads with us in the booth here. It's a great-looking bobblehead. He's got the jeans on, the white piping on the shirt that Tony always wears. He's got his ARF Foundation represented there as well. Our thanks to our friends at Chevrolet for that. But I don't know, baby. Can we get the Cowboy a couple of cases? That's a great-looking bobblehead. Look at that likeness.
It really is, yeah.
Same shirt, same jeans, and everything.
It ought to come accessorized with some reading glasses so it would really be realistic.
By the way, the first cup of coffee is coming up, I believe, on Sunday with Tony La Russa. We shot that episode a few weeks ago. Manny Espinosa grounds out to Owens to lead off the 7th. So the first cup of coffee comes up Sunday with Tony La Russa. A lot of bobbleheads here.
He does such great work with that Animal Rescue Foundation. When he initially got it going back as a member of the Oakland A's, there was a stray cat at the ballpark in Oakland one night, and Tony took it home with him and got up the next morning and drove around to several shelters, wanted to donate the cat, and they said, unfortunately, because we have so many cats, it's probably going to be euthanized. So Tony said, well, we just can't allow that to happen. So he kept the cat and started the Animal Rescue Foundation soon thereafter. And one of the first events he had was a motorcycle ride out in the East Bay in the San Francisco area, and I happened to be living in the area at the time, so I was there for one of their first fundraisers.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
His whole family is involved with their ARI Foundation. Diamondbacks put the defensive overshift on the left-hand side for Dan Uggla, who checked into the ball game in the last inning. Uggla just over 200 for the season, 5 extra base hits. His career looked like it was over for a while, but the bat has shown some signs of life lately. 7 hits in his previous 19 times up, including 2 triples and a home run. 3-time All-Star with Florida and Atlanta. Two and two.
I'll tell you one thing, Dan Uggla may struggle at the plate from time to time, but he looks great in a hotel lobby. He's got those Popeye forearms. I mean, those are some big forearms.
What do you always say? He leads the league in forearms?
Yep. Has for years.
And that's what he's been doing a lot of over the last couple of years, striking outs. That's the 4th strikeout for Ruby De La Rosa, who's rolling along here. You know, obviously the discussion is going to be about the offense. And Ruby's pitching here in another game with a big lead, but look at how efficient he's been here tonight. Other than that 18 pitch third, 11, 12, 14, 9, 14. I mean, he's really been good here. 84 pitches so far, 61 for strikes, and Span is in with 2 outs in the 7th.
Yeah, it's hard to find too much fault with Ruby De La Rosa tonight. If you really wanted to nitpick, you could say, well, he walked Danny Espinosa leading off that 3rd inning, and he later came around to score on the Denard Span double. And Bryce Harper, the hottest hitter on the planet, took him deep on a really good changeup down low and away. But other than that, he has been outstanding.
You know, Harper's, well, he's been doing what he does. He's got a double, a homer, he has scored twice. But Ruby with a lead, really on point here tonight. He's behind on Span though, 2-0. Make it 3 balls and no strikes. Nothing doing down there in the Diamondback bullpen. This is Ruby at 87 pitches. All quiet down there in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. A 2-out walk to Denard Span. 2nd walk issued tonight by Ruby De La Rosa. And he'll work to Yunel Escobar.
3rd baseman, Yunel Escobar.
And now it looks like we'll have some activity down there. Mike Harkey on the phone. Mel Stottlemyre Jr. will answer the call down the other end. Escobar 5 for 5 last night. 0 for 3 tonight. That's the way things have gone for the Nationals in this series.
I bet they're going to get a lefty ready in case we get down to Bryce Harper this inning. You saw Mel Stottlemyre Jr. immediately look at his own lineup card. Chances are, Mike Harkey said, hey, get Chafin ready for Harper.
Oh, you're right. Right on it. You got Escobar at the plate. The right hand hitting Worth is on deck. Harper from the left side behind him. The numbers on Ruby so far. He's ahead 0-2.
Sometimes that call to the bullpen is if this, then that. If this guy gets on base, we're going to leave him in to face the 2 righties and get a lefty ready for Bryce Harper. If we get this guy out, obviously, the inning's over. Don't worry about it. We'll worry about what we're going to do between innings. But if this, then that. And sometimes it's a laundry list of things. If this guy walks, then I want to get Randall Delgado up quickly to face a right hand. And get Chafin up behind him for Harper.
Bounced in the hole. Aaron Hill cuts it off, spins and throws. And he's got Escobar. Nice play there by the Diamondback 3rd baseman. It's our defensive specialty show tonight on a night where the Diamondbacks have scored 14 runs, but Aaron Hill with some leather. And we stretch a chase 14-4 Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. 14-4 D-backs as we start the home half of the 7th inning. New pitcher on for the Washington Nationals. It's the right-hander Aaron Barrett. He's out of Ole Miss, or as they stay at Mississippi State, that school up north. He has fanned 20 and walked only 3 in 12 2/3 innings this year. Ender Inciarte leads off the D-backs 7th, and he gets it up in the air to center. It backs up, Span still going back, and he runs it down. Ender with 3 RBIs tonight, including a home run, but 1 down in the 7th. And here comes Trumbo, who has homered his last 2 times up. Trumbo, a 3-run homer in the 4th. A solo shot to lead off the 6th. He's now got 6 homers this season. He has driven in 4 of the Diamondbacks' 14 runs. So Mark counting tonight, last 12 games, 5 homers and 13 RBIs. Fourth inning, Trumbo, our Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning cool play of the game off the facade out there in left. And that was 1 pitch before. Luis Gonzalez, who was in our booth at the time, said he'd like to see Trumbo get a hold of one. Gonzo had the magic touch tonight. Last night the Nationals 11 runs on 15 hits. Tonight the Diamondbacks 14 runs on 15 hits. 3-0 to Trumbo. There's a strike, 3-1.
Watch this swing if Barrett throws him something close to the strike zone.
He lets it fly and drives it deep to right, but Harper runs it down. A nice running catch by Bryce Harper. Trumbo bidding for the opposite field base hit, but Harper takes it away.
Well, that's great to see. You've got the count in your favor. A lot of big power hitters would try to pull that ball. Instead, Mark stayed with it and made a bid for extra bases in the gap in right center. Bryce Harper just ran it down.
Way to get that one. Matt Williams actually changed his outfield alignment around this year. That used to be Worth out there in right. This season it's Harper. Goldie high in the air to deep center field. Span in front of the track. So some loud outs in the Diamondbacks 7th sends us to the 8th. It's 14-4 defense. Talk Stick Life, high-speed highlights. A lot of Diamondbacks offense here tonight. They lead at 14-4. A homer by Inciarte, 2 by Trumbo. And as we start the 8th inning, on in relief of Ruby De La Rosa, it's the left-hander Andrew Chafin.
Nice job once again by Ruby De La Rosa tonight. Save that bullpen. Andrew Chafin in here, get a little bit of work.
And it's funny, we started out doing a baseball in focus show for you tonight, a special broadcast with a look at defensive significance, but we've had so much offense here to cover that we've kind of gotten away from it a bit. But we'll resume our defensive look here in the 8th inning. Heart of the order for the Nationals: Worth, Harper, and Zimmerman, 3, 4, and 5. Worth so far 1 for 3, singled and scored his last time up. And there's strike 1 from Chafin.
We always see the center fielder shaded one direction or the other because he doesn't want to stand directly behind the pitcher. Can't see the ball as it gets into the hitting zone, so that center fielder is always going to be a step or 2 or more off the center of the field so he can see that ball as it gets in the hitting zone.
Inciarte out there for the Diamondbacks. That one misses. 1 and 2 on Worth. .191 on the year. And Worth turns 36 in about a week. 13 seasons in the big leagues, trying to come back from that right shoulder operation back in January. The soreness, he says, kind of comes and goes. They've tried everything. Exercises, a strengthening program. He said he thought he was through with the lingering soreness, thought he'd be good to go, and then it popped back up. It flares up now and again.
Well, Worth has always been a guy that can, if necessary, get tremendous extension on his swing. He can really cover that outside corner, and I would imagine with that sore right shoulder, if he does reach out there and extend, that would make it flare up.
Nick Ahmed throws him out. Ender Inciarte out there in center field. Our defensive significance show. Let's hear from the Diamondbacks outfielder.
Last year, I used to think a lot about, I'm playing left field, I'm playing center, or playing right. Right now, I just go there, wait for the ball to be hit to me, and that's it. I'm trying not to think too much about all the 3 positions. Just do the best I can and catch the ball in the air.
He has shown tremendous versatility playing all 3 outfield spots this year.
And that arm will play at all 3 spots. That is the sticking point for some outfielders, why they can't play right field. You need a big arm out in right field to be able to throw that ball all the way to third base if necessary.
Bryce Harper.
Yeah, and Ender's got plenty of arm to play any of the 3 outfield positions.
Harper homered his last time up. He's also doubled and scored a run, 2 for 3. Well, he really does Ender fit a profile. I mean, you hear the term 4th outfielder so often, but to really be that true 4th outfielder, you have to be able to play center field, right? And not everybody can do that. Great range out there. There's that light tower swing from Harper, and Chafin's ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. Nice block by Tuffy, who really had to get out there in that right-hand batter's box to keep that one in front. Even with nobody on base. 2 and 2 now.
Have to think about defense out on the field. In last night's ball game, Jason Worth was at the plate, and the second base umpire was kind of in his line of vision with the left-handed pitcher on the mound, Vidal Nuno. So The home plate umpire stepped out, asked Rob Drake to move on the other side of the infield so he wasn't in Jason Worth's line of sight.
Ooh, miss there. Gabe Morales not going to give it to him, and it's full 3-2.
Might have been just a tad off that corner. You see how far out there tough he is. Catches the ball right in front of his body, but he's over in that right-handed batter's box.
Harper seems to have a better understanding of the strike zone this year. We've talked about that, and that was a good example. 3-2 pitch. Chafin misses upstairs with a fastball, and it's a 1-out walk. That'll bring up Ryan Zimmerman, who's got a pair of hits. He's 2 for 3. Bounced over the mound. Nick Ahmed steps on the bag and turns the double play. And Chafin is out of the 8th inning. Diamondbacks lead the Nationals 14-4.
Reasonably certain we'll be talking about a Diamondbacks win, Joe, very quickly. I know you'll be talking defense. Ruby De La Rosa, do you have any room for the offensive explosion?
Oh, yeah. Talk about a role reversal. Okay. We'll break down that huge fourth inning where they scored 5 runs to finally chase Strasburg.
Okay. His production crew is ready, Steve. So are we. We'll see you right after the game.
Well, you might have to reevaluate what Joe's going to analyze here, Todd, because we have on the mound for the Nationals Clint Robinson. That's fine, except he's an outfielder. And so Matt Williams in a 14-4 ball game, and Chip Hale talked about doing this last night with Cliff Pennington. Matt Williams has gone to a position player on the mound, and David Peralta greets him with a base hit to center. Clint Robinson pitched at Troy University, a 25th round pick back in 07. There is no record of him either at the major or minor league level ever pitching in a ball game.
Well, this is something no manager ever really likes to do. Occasionally it becomes necessary to save that bullpen, and we've had Mark Grace pitch here for me, Steve Finley. Yeah, Gracie actually volunteered.
Aaron Hill knocks that one into seats.
But it can serve a purpose. Number one, it saves the bullpen. Number two, hopefully it takes a little bit of the sting out of what appears to be a tough loss for the Nationals tonight. Get guys to go home yucking and laughing a little bit about it, have some fun with it, and come back tomorrow and wash this one off.
So you do, in a sense, sort of go for the comedy element here to maybe, lessen the blow of a 14-4 loss?
Well, you hope that's the effect. I mean, I know when Gracie pitched against the Dodgers that night here at then Bank One Ballpark, and they were kicking the living daylights out of us, and Gracie came in to pitch. Yeah, they want the ball.
Strikeout for Robinson. All right, here it is.
Yeah, but the Dodgers went home kind of angry that night. Gracie came in to pitch. He gave up a long home run to David Ross, his first major league homer, and our guys were kind of laughing in the third base dugout, and you could just see the Dodgers, the veins in their necks were standing out. They were so mad that we were having fun at the end of a tail whipping.
Chris Owings, a home run shy of the cycle as he steps in here. CO lined out to second back in the first. Tripled and scored in the fourth. Doubled and scored in the fifth. Singled and scored in the sixth. This one out to Span in center. So no cycle tonight for CO. Fans, as we take a look at the upcoming road trip, Let's Go Places, brought to you by your Valley Toyota dealers. Play 3 in Philadelphia. Have the final 2 games of that series over the weekend on TV for you. Archie Bradley is back Saturday, and then Monday through Thursday we play 4 at Miami against Giancarlo Stanton and the Marlins. The Monday through Wednesday games are on TV for you as well. Duffy goes a wish. And if you haven't seen the home run that Giancarlo Stanton hit tonight at Dodger Stadium off former D-back pitcher Mike Bolsinger, you need to get online and go look, because he hit it out of Dodger Stadium. Bounced in the hole. Escobar. We go to the 9th. D-backs lead at 14-4. Fans, visit your local Bash's store and find the Destination D-backs Pepsi display. You can purchase $25 worth of participating Pepsi, Budweiser, and Frito-Lay products and get a pair of tickets to an upcoming Diamondbacks Friday night game. See the display for offer details. Pepsi, live for now. 9th inning at Chase Field. And how about Clint Robinson, the 3rd position player to pitch in a major league game this season? The Nationals have existed since 2005, and it's the first time ever the Nationals have had a position player pitch in a major league game. And he had a strikeout to boot. Clint Robinson. Andrew Chafin out there for his 2nd inning of work as we start the 9th. Wilson Ramos, the catcher, will lead it off. Pitcher spot is due up next for the Nationals, and Michael Taylor's in the on-deck circle. Danny Espinosa follows him. Strike 1.
In case you're wondering, the other 2 position players to also take the mound this year, Ike Davis for the Oakland A's. Of course, he was closer at ASU, for crying out loud. He's pitched before. And David Ross, the guy who took Gracie deep. David Ross took the mound for the Chicago Cubs.
Veteran catcher David Ross. Well, Ramos here needs a base hit. He's 0 for 3, and his 14-game hitting streak is on life support right now. He's hit an even 400 during his streak, but he's hitless tonight. 2-2. Three and two. Chafin his second inning on in relief of Ruby De La Rosa, who had another terrific outing for the Diamondbacks tonight. Gave up 4 runs, 8 hits in 7 innings, walked 1, walked 2, pardon me, struck out 4. There's a base hit for Ramos, and he extends his streak, now 15 straight. Hey fans, follow the Arizona Diamondbacks all season long with the MLB.com at Bat app, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and a whole lot more. You can get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet. The view from the batter's box suite. It can be your view right here at Chase Field. Michael Taylor hits for the pitcher. Now, I suppose you could have let Robinson hit for himself. He's a position player after all. But Taylor gets the AB. Ramos the streak now at 15 games. Michael Taylor, 261, a pair of home runs. Series finale tomorrow. It's a 12:40 start. An afternoon game on getaway day. No TV. That's radio only tomorrow. Jeremy Hellickson versus Gio Gonzalez. Thursday's a travel day. Friday, the Diamondbacks open up a 3-game series in Philadelphia. No TV on that game either. Chase Anderson pitches against Chad Billingsley, the former Dodger, Friday. We're back with you, Bob and I, on the TV side Saturday. Archie Bradley versus Jerome Williams. Sunday, Cole Mentor and Sean O'Sullivan. Full count now on Taylor, 3-2. And then after Philadelphia, the Diamondbacks head to Miami for 4 against the Marlins.
We want to send birthday wishes to Lawrence Peter Berra, better known as Yogi Berra. Sent to the Hall of Fame in 1972, celebrating his 90th birthday today. You know, with all this talk about the franchise 4 that they have, the promotion that Major League Baseball has going on, and we've had some fun with picking the 4 greatest players from any team, any position. I got to put Yogi on mine.
Taylor gets it in the air. Trumbo's there. What a win. Well, the Yankees franchise 4, that's a tough call.
Oh, yeah.
That's really tough.
But Danny Espinosa wearing that number 8 in the on-deck circle just kind of reminded me of Yogi. Of course, best buddies with Joe Garagiola Sr. Grew up right across the street from each other in St. Louis. I bet they got in all kinds of trouble as kids. Yogi played 19 years in the big leagues. How about this? He struck out 414 times, walked 704. 15 consecutive All-Star games, 11 World Series rings. He's on my all-time franchise 4, any franchise.
Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded.
If you come to a fork in the road, take it.
Base hit for Espinosa. 2 hits in the inning against Andrew Chafin. Tonight on Fox Sports Live on Fox Sports 1, following our Diamondback Live postgame show. One of baseball's top prospects makes his major league debut. Highlights of the Mets' Noah Syndergaard at Wrigley Field. The hit king, Pete Rose, in the house to break down the entire night on the diamond. And the Bulls and the Cavaliers meet again. Clippers trying to close out the Rockets. You can see Fox Sports Live tonight, 10 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Or see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports Arizona following the Diamondbacks live postgame show. Dan Uggla belts one into right center. This is going to score Ramos. Espinosa's on the run. And Uggla has an RBI double. Randall Delgado down in the Sanderson Ford bullpen.
Pinch hitting for Denard Span, number 12, Tyler Moore.
Tyler Moore will take the at-bat now for Denard Span. Mike Harkey visits now. Uggla's now got 8 hits in his last 21 at-bats. A double, 2 triples, and a home run. The bats come around as of late. Chafin trying to get those final 2 outs. So here's Tyler Moore hitting for Span. It's Matt Williams trying to get these runs back in bunches here, hoping that Moore can connect. Got pretty good power. Short. Ahmed will get the tag play on Uggla at third. Espinosa scores to make it 14-6.
Third baseman, Yunel Escobar.
Brings up Yunel Escobar.
You know, partner, they say that momentum in baseball is your next day's starting pitcher, but I think within a game, momentum can shift back and forth, and pretty much tells the story of this game. The Nationals scored a run in the top of the third. D-backs came right back, got a run of their own in the bottom of the inning.
Base hit for Escobar.
Nationals scored a run in the top of the fourth. D-backs put a 5 spot up on the bottom of the fourth, and then in the 6th inning, the Nationals scored 2. The Diamondbacks come right back and score 4. Take that momentum right back on your side of the field.
There it is. Chip Hale coming out there now, and that's going to be it for Chafin. Jason Worth is coming up. Harper, the lefty, behind him, but that will end Andrew Chafin's night. We'll see Randall Delgado back after this. B returns. It's another doubleheader of division rivalries. The Braves and the Marlins, the Pirates and the Cubs. Coverage starts at 10 a.m. on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Randall Delgado on to try to get the final out of the ball game here. 2 on, 2 outs for Jason Worth. Thirteenth appearance of the year for Randall and an excellent 2.35 ERA. Nationals 2 weeks ago, last in the National League East. They were a full 8 games behind the division leading Mets. But since then, they had jumped up to second, less than 3 games off the NL East lead. Mets tonight lost at Wrigley Field 6-1 with their rookie prospect Noah Syndergaard on the mound. And the Nationals about to go down 14-6 here. 1-2 and 2 outs on Worth. Rubber game tomorrow. No TV. It's a 12:40 afternoon start. Hellickson and Gonzalez. Right back to the mound, and the Diamondbacks draw even with Washington. Some payback for last night's blowout. They win it here, 14-6 over Matt Williams Nationals.
Well, obviously real good to see tonight. A lot of guys got healthy with the bat tonight against Steven Strasburg at the beginning and a whole bunch of relief pitchers.
Our Gila River game summary. 3 home runs by the Diamondbacks. Ender Inciarte a solo shot. Mark Trumbo hit 2. And the Diamondbacks roll. They lost last night. Nationals got 11 runs on 15 hits. Well, the D-backs topped them tonight. 14 runs on 16 hits. And let's not lose sight of the ball game that Ruby De La Rosa pitched. Ruby in his last 3 home starts, 21 innings, he's given up only 5 earned runs.
And he just looks more and more confident every time he goes out there to take the mound. The electric fastball, the changeup was outstanding tonight. Really didn't need much more against the Nationals because of the support his offense gave him.
Well, the Borowski production company has been working hard throughout the ball game. A whole lot of highlights, so we better start Diamondbacks Live. The postgame show's on the air. Todd, take it away.
Thank you very much, Steve. And